Hey guys, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you probably recognize this. It is a Sencore VG91 universal video generator, but it is not the one I usually use. This is the one I recently acquired the same day I got the Garrett big old 15-inch combo set. Totally different transaction, just happened to do 2 runs on the same day. So I have a buddy in Colorado that deals in a lot of test equipment, and he had the opportunity, I guess, to go into an old TV repair shop, something like that, and they had a bunch of Sencore gear, and he asked me if I would be interested in some of it, and I said absolutely. So I got the VG91, the TVA92, the TVA93, I think it's called, for VCRs, and one for generating signals for computer monitors. But this is what I'm most interested in because a few months ago mine crapped out and I was kind of left high and dry. Now luckily I was able to fix mine. Some caps had leaked on the power supply and eaten into the board and shorted it out, carbonized. It was really nasty. So I want to check this one out before we power it up. Hopefully this one will be working. If I have to make repairs I will, but it'd be great to have a backup one is what I'm trying to say. And likewise for the TVA92. The other two, not so interested in, but they're interesting devices and we'll talk about them a little bit. To get it open, you remove screws all around the plastic trim on the front and the back. Now this one is a bit busted up, so when I took the screws out it just kind of all fell apart, but that's just cosmetic. Now we can take this off. So, this is a troublemaker. So on mine, these caps had leaked, but this one looks good. So on mine the caps are flush to the board and they leaked, and whatever goo leaked out got right into the circuit board material and just caused all sorts of problems. But I heard from other folks that theirs stood off the boards, as are these. They're like 1/8 of an inch off the board, and I don't see any sign of leakage, so I think we're good to go to try powering this guy up. Alright, so we're plugged into my PR57 just in case anything goes bad, and here we go. And it's on. HRC cable, standard TV, that's what I care about. Cool. And it's incredibly dim, but I found out when I serviced mine that there was a control somewheres. We can crank that backlight up. They wear out over time. I just don't remember where it is. I might have to take this front panel off. A trimmer somewhere to review my notes. But anyways, that is the least of my concerns. Seems to turn on and be alive. Huh, are these? Yeah. I never played around with that dot size. For this. So, I mean, the obvious test is we gotta hook it up to a TV, right? There's a little rub with that. I don't have any working TVs handy right now except for this flat screen modern set. Yeah, these all light up. But I'll dig out something we can hook it up to. That is very encouraging. Oh, TVA92 and the TVA or whatever it's called, 93. The problem with, not the problem, but you have to use this to control either one of those. They daisy chain together, which is a drag, meaning like this is the master control unit. This has to work. You can't use either of the other two. They don't even have their own power switches. You turn this on to turn one of those on. So I'm going to leave this here for the moment and pull out the VC93. That's what it's called. Well, now I'm curious because this does have its own power switch. The TVA92 does not, but it does have a 15-pin connector on the back that hooks up to the VG91 and the TVA92. So I'll have to review the manual to see how they all interact. Maybe you can use this standalone. So what is this? Well, it's an all-format VCR analyzer, and you can see the switches over here. Standard VHS, Super VHS, VHS-C, Super VHS-C, Standard Beta, Super Beta, U-matic, U-matic SP, 8mm, High 8, and spare. So this can generate test signals for all of those formats, all of those devices. I have never serviced any of them. I haven't used a VCR in many, many years. I really don't have any use for this. But I wanted to save it for from a landfill for sure. And I know there are guys out there, especially that work with U-matics. So somebody out there might have a use for it. I'm especially curious, can you use this standalone? Because I'm not partnered with a VG91. That's, for what I do, that's the most useful device. But I know folks who might have a use for this. I went to the Vintage Computer Fest Midwest not too long ago, and there were definitely U-matic enthusiasts there. And if I can help somebody else out, that would be awesome. Let's turn this off. I got it plugged into power right now. It does turn on its own. The relay's clicking inside. So, I have no idea. I mean, I have some idea, like servo analyzer, tester. I mean, obviously it's going to have to do with the motor inside of the VCR type device, but of course I have nothing to hook this up to. I don't have any VCRs. But let's see. Composite video. I know what that means. What I'm trying to do is see if I can get something on that. So the way these generally work is that shows you your output level as you vary it. So this is just a straight up variable DC power supply built into it too. DC output there. How do you vary the output level? So that's what I'm monitoring. Obviously I haven't read the manual. Oh, that's an input. Okay. So you can measure voltages going into it. Well, okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So you can do DC and AC voltage in. Okay. I wonder, modulation, so it has built-in color bars, but you can go to external video pattern and audio. I wonder if you're in external mode, it gets this pattern the patterns from the VG91. That would make a lot of sense. There we go. Okay, so when I'm on drive signal, when I vary the drive level, yes, the meter does react. So I have no way of fully qualifying if this is working or not. But turns on, the functions seem to change when I turn things. So I'm sure somebody out there knows more about this, so I'd love to hear from you. And especially in terms of, is there interest in this? The people who have a need for this. Is it useful enough standalone on its own without the other devices plugged into it? Alright, here's your TVA92, which has a tag on it. Well, it's the original Sencore tag. Just telling you about using the proper fuse. This is a wonderful device if you're doing anything like I do, working on TVs, doing signal injection, because it takes the output of the the VG91, and lets you do more with it. Because this will only output like 1 volt peak-to-peak composite, that's it. But this will amplify that, both positive and negative, all the way up to 300 volts peak-to-peak positive, or it'll invert it for you. So you can inject that into tube equipment, into the video amp, like drive a cathode ray tube directly. And that's just the beginning of it. It has a built-in DC bias supply level if you're doing an alignment. Variable 0 to 30 volts 1 amp. Then you get audio or video signals, IF, composite video, audio, all the way up to 300 volts peak to peak, all the way down to 0. And you can do color burst, you can do vertical drive, horizontal key pulse. And it has a ringer test to see if your yoke or flyback has any shorts in it. So you can just test a switching power transformer. And all kinds of interesting things. You do need some specialized cables for this stuff. You can directly drive a yoke with it. And you can feed a voltage in and use it as a digital voltmeter, up to 2,000 volts max input. So, for this, you absolutely, there's no power switch on it. It plugs into the VG91, and when you turn this on, this always turns on. So, let me take my master-slave interconnect cable here and hook them together and try to power it up. Alright, I gotta say, I'm a little torn about doing videos like this because I'm a bit of a micro-influencer, meaning that if I talk about something and say how useful it is, and there's a limited supply on eBay or whatnot, it tends to drive the price up. So you used to be able to get these, well, nobody cared about them, nobody knew about them. So when I originally got mine, I don't know, $50, something like that. They're considerably more now, unfortunately, on eBay, and there aren't as many of them out there. So, you know, I don't know what to do. I mean, I can keep my mouth shut and just keep it to myself or my, TV buddies, or I can let everybody know. So I'm siding with letting everybody know, and hopefully you can come across one too somewhere, or if you can afford it, buy one wherever they are sold. Alright, so I got the interconnect together. I got both of them plugged in now. So let's give this a shot. Let me turn that down. There was something didn't sound so good in this guy. It was on the 300 volt level. And there's a little warning light here, voltage to 350 volts peak to peak. It test leads, and that light was flashing. It sounded like something was arcing inside. I dropped down to the 30 volt range. Seems to be cool now. Let's go to video. Yeah, that's not so good. This I kind of do know how to use. If I'm on video, 30 volt peak to peak range, and I change the output level, this should be showing the change. And it's not doing anything. 3 volt. Nope. 30. Back to 300 now, and the light's flashing, but it's not making crazy sounds. It'll also not show me the output level. Let's go back to 30. No, I do have an external peak-to-peak volt, which is probably the external input. Same problem I was making with the other device. So let's go to audio video drive, 30 volt peak-to-peak, and let's turn this up. There we go. Should go up to 26. It's not a precision device. And if I go the other way, yeah. Here's the relays clicking inside. It's supposed to do that. So I'm on the 300 volt range. 253. Go to the negative. 251. Let's go down to 3. So yeah, without hooking this up to a device, let's check the built-in variable power supply. Up to about 30 volts, down to basically 0. Seems to be probably working. So that's cool. So one more device to take a look at. Now this is not really useful to me right now, I don't think, but I think it's the most versatile and interesting device of the group. This is the Sencore CM2000 computer monitor analyzer. I have the manuals, all sorts of cables and adapters, and a whole tech school on how to use it. So, if you remember the good old days of analog computer monitors from 70s, 80s, 90s, they had all sorts of different capabilities as time went on. CGA, EGA, VGA, and on and on and on. And there were some advanced monitors like an NEC multi-sync that could handle different formats, but some were fixed, especially the older ones, to specific horizontal vertical resolution, like 640 by 480, 1024 by 768. This can generate the signals for those monitors, and that's why we have so many breakout cables here, is because they also used all kinds of different connectors over the years, from S-video, composite, RGB components. And of course later we got into the 15-pin connectors and VISA and and all that. Well, this is purely analog, no HDMI. We're talking analog computer monitors. So some of the interesting things you can do is there's a button here, H frequency, V frequency, H pixel, V pixel. Yeah, unlike what I always work on, NTSC television, which is always basically 60 hertz vertical and 15.75 kilohertz horizontal. Computer monitors use all sorts of different frequencies or different resolutions. You program this in, so all these other devices I showed you were locked to. They don't even do PAL. I don't think they're just strictly NTSC old school. This is programmable. And then there's all sorts of different things you can do. So it does test patterns up here, so a lot of this is the same as the others, like a ringer test, and you can feed in an external voltage. You can, I think it has a ring test. It can generate signals to directly drive a yoke or a flyback and all that. But this stuff is very specific to this device. I think it's also the newest. It's a bit smaller than the others, and it weighs a lot less. So I'm guessing it's newer and more sophisticated inside. Let's see if it turns on. Ooh. Definitely a more advanced display here. So, check out what it came up as. I think all of these displays are supposed to be backlit, but over time they're electroluminescent and they just fade out. But anyways, 31.5 kilohertz horizontal, 70.1 hertz vertical, equivalent to 720 by 400 resolution. How cool is that? So H frequency, I guess I can just type in 67.2 kilohertz. Enter, and it just does it. So one thing I was curious about is if I dialed in, I guess you only get one digit of precision. Like if I do 15.7 and 60 hertz and all that, do the equivalent of, 480i for a TV, could I hook this up to a TV and get a stable image? I'm guessing I can. But what a neat thing. That makes me want to get some old computer monitors and see if I can fix them. Especially I'm thinking of Adrian's Digital Basement, who I am a fan of, and I've been watching him troubleshoot some monitors recently. And, you know, I would recommend he gets a device like this if he's going to continue doing that, because it is a very, very handy thing. Alright, so everything seems to work. At least, you know, they all turn on, the display and the controls seem to do something. Let's wrap it up by pull out a TV and hook it up to the VG91, and which was the main prize in all this for me, and make sure that this actually produces a signal that a TV can receive. Alright, I just happened to be troubleshooting this GE set, so let's see if we can feed a signal into it. So, standard TV, increase our output level. The right channel. Damn, look at that. Alright. Got some sound. Very cool. So yeah, it sure does seem to work. The output level, go from snow to signal. Multi-burst can turn off the sections. Yeah, I think we got a winner here. Alright, that's going to be it for now. It's always good to have backup equipment. So, the workshop will continue to keep on keeping on. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.